morning. Good morning. Um, I'm just gonna let people log in, so I'll just be over here doing my preps. Good morning, everybody. Let's see who's there. Who's there? I hope everything is okay. I'll just give you a few minutes to log in. I hope there are no issues. There we go. Hi. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. So whilst people log in, I'll just be over here. Good morning. Good morning. I guess we'll just get going. People will join in as they come along. How are you? How are you? I've missed doing this. I've missed engaging with you guys. It was a couple of weeks of some. I wouldn't. Only one weekend was some off time. The other one I was. In Botswana. So, yeah, we've missed 2 weeks of this. It's been awesome, though. I've been having a wonderful time. Good morning. Hi. Hello. So, welcome. How have you been? I'm going to tell you how I've been, and then I'll let you know what I'm making today. But I really just want to take some questions today. So, because we haven't had a lot of time for questions in the previous sessions because I was tackling certain topics. So this week I'm just going to allow for some questions. And in fact, I think that's the rhythm I'm going to take going forward is 1 week of a topic and the next week we do some questions because I'm pretty sure once you've watched the topic, you then have some follow-up questions or some commentary around that. So this week I'm just going to take some questions. Welcome everybody, welcome. And I'm pretty sure you've had more than enough time to catch up on all the ones that we've done before. So yeah, I'm really happy to be here. I'm so happy. I spent some time in Botswana. So that week of the 4th of February, I was in Botswana. It was amazing. We had a retreat with about 18 women. I think it was 18 women, 20 women, and oh, it was so transformational. It was really amazing to be out just to break away from what is our typical surroundings and typical responsibilities and just be out in the bush and doing nothing but connecting, engaging, recharging, reflecting. And we walked away with quite a lot of things that, people can do to change their lives. And the women have been staying in touch with me. I've been staying in touch with them, and some of them have kept me informed of how they're going, progress. And the toughest thing is always to sustain change. And in my book, Therefore I Rose, one of the things I write about is personal change. It's how to actually get on with change. But the fact that the point is that a lot of people can change or can change the things they do not like, but the wheels come off when it comes to sustaining that change because it's lasting when it's sustainable, when it's sustained. So I write in depth in my book, Therefore I Rose, about that. So if you want that book, you can get it at amandadambuza.com. There's a lot of things I write in that book. It's a handbook. So anyway, it was wonderful to be in Botswana. I love being out in nature, so that was fantastic. And then last week, it was my birthday weekend, so we went away to my favorite place by the countryside. So I didn't want to do anything. I mean, some people were asking me, my friends were asking me, so what are we doing? Because they know my parties go down. I said to them, oh, you feel like having some verve. So I decided not. I just wanted some quiet time with my family. I wanted to be out in nature and not entertain anyone or talk to people. In fact, I just didn't want to talk. a retreat, which was a weekend of talking. I needed a break from talking. So I celebrated the best way I always know how. A dinner at Signature with my family, and then we went away for the weekend. So that was wonderful. But I've also been very busy in my business. The momentum has kicked back in, so we are really, really busy. Our clients are starting to shift back into the offices. They're kicking off new projects. I guess everyone has realized that, oh, they're still alive. And those problems that they left there are still there. So we are deeply, deeply grateful to our clients for the momentum that we're starting to see, because that's really important for me. It's not just important, it's not an important, the importance of it, is not about just making money. It's the fact that I take in graduates every year. And one of the biggest impact that COVID has had is our ability to take in more graduates and give them work experience. Because we take them in, we train them, and then we put them at clients to get work experience. And so that has been a very difficult thing to do during COVID. Well, we actually couldn't do it. I think last year we only took in one graduate. And we were fortunate enough to be able to place him at a client where he learned how to be an Android developer. So, you know, I'm really happy that things are starting to shift, things are starting to move along. We've had a really strange time. I think all of us get that. And I'm not a person that does business on screens. I don't really I don't like it. So I'm really happy to start engaging with clients physically and going to see them. Of course, they've got mandatory vaccination policies, so our teams have to be vaccinated. You can't go on client sites if you're not vaccinated, which is great for me. So I mean, because I believe in it, I believe in the vaccination. So thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, it's not my birthday. Yes, was on the 10th, but I'm still taking I'm still taking birthday wishes all the month of February. Welcome everybody, welcome, and welcome to our special members and very, very special members. So you can join as a member of this channel. There's some benefits that go with it. So let me tell you what I'm making today. Today I'm playing with the big girls. I'm using my tagine today. What is a tagine? I'm using my tagine to make a tagine meal today. So this is essentially a tagine. It's just a clay pot. If you grew up rural, you know you know it very well. It's just coming in a little bit more of a modernized version. But I mean, this is a typical Moroccan way of cooking. And the reason you use this, well, I think it's the reason a lot of people use it. You use this when you want your dish to be really softly cooked, like very tender, because it retains the moisture. So moisture doesn't escape here. It stays put. So this is what I'm using today. This is the lid. So I'll use that when I close the meal. So this is the pot itself. So as is customary, today I'm making lamb necks. But my lamb necks, I mix them up with some stewing lamb. So I'm making lamb necks, and I'm gonna make them Moroccan style. So let me show you what they look like. These are the necks. So nice little slices of neck. And I mean, lamb necks don't have a lot of meat, but they're quite delicious, because I love meat on the bone. So that's what I'm making today. So let's start, and it's going to be a lot of spices. But what I'm going to do, you can pop your questions into the comment box, and I'll note them down as well as I cook, and I'll answer some as I cook. But the prep part is going to be quite quick, and I'll tell you a bit more about what I want to talk about next week, the topic I'm going to tackle next week. So a bit of olive oil, as you know. I've already done my prep, so let me show you. These are the vegetables I'm going to use. So here I've got potatoes, butternut, and carrots. And what I do with my potatoes, these are just cubed, but I don't remove the skin. Even with butternut, I typically don't remove the skin, but when you want it to melt into the dish, I remove the skin. When you want it to melt, you just remove the skin. So I cook most of my vegetables with the skin, the ones that can be eaten with the skin. So, so once our oil heats up, I've chopped up some onions already. I've got some garlic. I've got a touch of ginger that I'm going to use. Um, I use these spices. So there's Moroccan Rub. This is a really great spice. It's a mix of coriander, cumin, and some rose petals. So it's really, really fragrant. And then I'm going to use some meat masala. Um, Meat masala is pretty much everything you can think of. Coriander, cumin, cinnamon, paprika, cloves, fennel, mustard, cardamom, black pepper, aniseed, bay leaves, chili, curry leaves. And then some medium curry blend, also a lot of the aforementioned spices. And then I'm going to use, so even though I've got those blends, I still want to add a touch more of my own spices. I like spiced food, not necessarily chili food, but spiced. So I've got some ground cumin, I've got some turmeric that I'm going to use, and I've also got some ground coriander. Of course, black pepper, as you know. And we're also going to use some tomato paste, as well as some canned tomatoes. I'm going to add some fresh peas as well as chickpeas. So this is a loaded dish that I'm making. We can't eat without vegetables, so you know, but you can either have the vegetables as a side dish, or you load up your meat dishes to be quite nutritious as well. So let's go. Pop some questions in the commentary box, and then I can respond to those as I cook. And I'm gonna serve it with couscous, as you already know. I like couscous as a replacement for either rice, pap, or whatever else starches people have. But couscous is quite light, so it doesn't feel so heavy. And yeah, so I'll tell you one of the things that I've had to really focus on in my business is I'm at a cycle where I've lost my top layer over the years. They've kind of like exited because for the different reasons. Sometimes the reason is that my previous chief operations officer left because there was nothing more to do. There was a lot to do when the business was still new and we had separated from Adapt IT. But there was really nothing more to do after 4 years of setting up the operations of the business. So he left. Head of business development left. That was for different reasons. And then my financial manager, who's been with me for 8 years, is leaving. So he got a job in the UAE. Well, he's been based out of the UAE since August. He's been working out of there. So he's taken up a job directly in the UAE. So I'm like, yeah, no good deed goes unpunished. No, but I'm really happy for him. I mean, I can't ask for anything more from the guy. But what it does, my head of talent is still around, so I still have some key people in the business. But with every business person, especially entrepreneurs tend to take on everything onto themselves, and you risk burnout. So a lot of us transition from corporate to entrepreneurship roles so that we can have flexibility. But if you don't actually build a company that where you have people that can take the pressure off you, you're gonna have serious problems because then everything lands on your lap. So what I had done with every role in my company, there's a next layer or there's a backup, because I never want to be caught, unaware or find myself in a tricky position because I don't have a successor to that role. So succession is a critical thing in as an entrepreneur as well. But it all depends on what kind of business you are building, what kind of business you are building. All right, so just as I'm browning the onions, I don't want them to brown too much, so I'm gonna add some garlic, and you know I love garlic, so I'm adding a bit of garlic so that we release the gases. As you already know, you must release them gases. And then I'm gonna add a touch of ginger, um, just a little bit of ginger. I don't typically cook with ginger a lot because it's not a. I think I have a mental block when it comes to ginger because I I drink a lot of ginger tea, but I have a mental block when it comes to cooking with it, and I do tend to use it more on like Asian inspired dishes, but you know in my kitchen there are no rules. We just cook. So yeah, I think one of the that's one of the most critical things in any business is to have somebody that can take over some of the critical functions. So my financial manager is leaving, but actually, I mean, I don't, I always, I am one of those people. I believe people are replaceable, and of course, I enjoy working with my team. I've enjoyed that for many years, but people are replaceable. Ultimately, you have to think about the business. Yeah, they don't all come in same shape, form, sizes. They don't come in, you don't connect with them in the same way. And my financial manager was a really critical part of my business. And he's been looking after my finances in the business since I started the business. So it is quite a loss. But then I've had to kind of like, okay, I'm happy for him firstly. So I'll never hold anyone back. And I'll never give anyone negative energy because I can't send people off with negative energy. So I don't take it personal when people leave, not at all. In fact, I do wish them well. And I'm really happy when my people grow, when they move on and grow from my company, because it means I've set them up for that next big thing, for that next big role, you know. So thank you, Nobis. I've missed you too, guys. Uh, yes, and Maud says that's the thing about leadership. We have to be okay with people leaving and growing. As much as I'd want to put them in a bottle and keep them, but also want people to grow, spread their wings and fly. Oh, absolutely. In fact, I'm very happy when my people leave. So I've got a I think the minimum people stay is about 4 years, which is you know I think that's acceptable. But I've got people who have been pushing 8 years, 7 years, 5 years, 6 years in the business. So there is some stability. But I always say the only person that will never leave is me. So other people, you expect that they will leave. It's just a matter of when, you know. It's just a matter of when. Okay, so let me show you what this looks like now, and then we can we can add the spices, and I like to heat the spices a bit. Just give them a bit of heat to release all the aromas and fragrances, and don't burn them. Don't burn them. I actually love that smell of ginger. Maybe I should cook more with ginger. Okay, so I'm gonna start with let's start with some coriander. Okay, gonna add some coriander. Yeah, there's some rule around spices and how much you add. I don't have rules. I just cook, Jay. So turmeric, I won't put a lot of it because I don't want the dish to be too yellow. And then this is some medium curry. So I'll add some medium curry. And this is some meat masala. Oh, I love spices. It just smells so good. I'd say if you want to gauge, I mean, it really depends on your appetite for spices. And there's some ground cumin. It smells so good. Cumin is one of those spices that just does it for me. Okay, and then I'm gonna add the Moroccan rub. So add some Moroccan rub. That's it for my spices. So I'm gonna put this back on the heat and just give them a little more heat. And then we'll add our meat pieces and let them brown. So that's where we're at. Looks good. So I'll give it a little heat. Just make sure that the heat is not too much. And you don't need a tagine. By the way, you don't need this pot to cook what I'm cooking. You can use your normal pots. I use a lot of clay pots because clay and sand pots or stoneware, because I like the way they cook. Um, I like the succulence and keeping the moisture in the food. It's my style of cooking, so yeah. So yeah. Anyway, that's what I've had to deal with. But then it all comes with decisions. Every time a critical role leaves, I know there's someone that will step in and take someone who has been doing that job in some shape or form. But there are components that are quite technical that you then have to, like particularly around financial management, there's things that are quite technical, taxes, returns, and management accounts, and the actual technical bookkeeping. So I had to kind of decide, um, do I hire or outsource? For me, either way is about creating jobs. So I still get my vision either way. I still get to live out my purpose. Um, but what I always try and do is not have dependency on one person. So in my business, there's no key man dependency. I think personally, I have depended on my financial manager for a lot of things because he was more than just a financial manager. But um, you know, in the moment that he's left, there's been opportunity to then, okay. So the one lady that's been there in finance, who's been working for 5 years with him, 5 to 6 years, okay, she can take up more responsibilities. So it's a bit more of a promotion for her. But then the components that we need to deal with that are technical, we outsource that. So then outsourcing means I don't have to worry about employees. But with every role, I try and see how I can remove key man dependency. Um, so, so I absolutely love and I enjoy working with my team, but people must move on. So that's what I've had to deal with. But also, I'm coming to the end of my my lease. I've been in my offices for 5 years, and last year, in fact, I gave them notice. I said I'm not going to renew my lease because I've got a really big office. I don't use half the space, so I'm changing because when times change, and that's the beautiful thing about being in business, and probably the scariest for many, you have to be adaptable. You have to be adaptable. When times change, you must change with the times. And I remember very well when I had when I moved into that office, there was probably just the office alone, which is largely support staff. There was probably 15, 18 of us in that office. But now we left with probably 6, 7 people in there. So because we've had to change with the changing times. So think about it. If you are not if you're not going to see clients for 2 years, what's the point of having an account management structure? Account managers are about seeing clients. They're about forking out opportunities within clients. So if none of that is happening, you have to find a way of adapting to the new way of working. So I had to kind of like make those decisions in the last 2 years. But since things are looking up again, we go back and we change it again. I love it. Oh, it smells so good. It smells so good. Let me show you. So I've burnt them enough now. So, well, I just put some heat on it. Don't burn it, please. Don't burn spices. Your food will become bitter. So I'll start with the necks because they take a while to cook. So the aim here is to just have the neck, the meat brown. So I'll just show you now what we're gonna do. Okay. Let me just put this away. All right. So here we're just gonna quickly, I'll do this for you. Okay. Just flip that around so that we get the spices going into the meat. It's already starting to look really good. But I mean, we'll get the spices in as we cook it. So there we go. Just gonna put it back in the on the stove. Okay. So whilst that is going, I'm gonna just be here with you. Okay. So that's that's pretty much what I've been up to. So I've had to make these decisions. Um, Tembi says, looking back at some of the conversations and all the that you have shared, it becomes difficult to ask questions. Not to say that there isn't more to learn. You've provided us with so much tools. Thank you. I appreciate that. No, listen, I mean, I'm happy to answer questions where there are questions. If there are none, I'm happy to carry on because I'm never short of something to talk about. All right, let me just tidy up and then we can chat some more. So, so yeah, I'll just, just to close off what I was sharing. So, in life, pretty much like in business, you have got to be so adaptable. You have got to change with the changing times. And if you're not adaptable as a human, you either die, so you learn nothing, and you keep or you keep swimming against the tide type thing. It's worse when you're an entrepreneur. You will not survive entrepreneurship if you don't have the ability to adapt, if you're not agile in your approach, because things change so quickly, things change so fast. So I've had to constantly make decisions on the go. And one of the things that I always say to people, especially people, people will ask me about, they want to start businesses, they're scared, what must they do? To be honest, I don't know how to advise people like that, because when you're in, I end up just telling them to maybe take the time and think if they really want to get into business. Because if you are afraid and that you're letting that hold you back, to me that says you're not really an entrepreneur, you know, because entrepreneurs thrive on risk. They thrive on the fear. They use they use it as the fuel they need to succeed. Um, so people that say to me, I want to start a business, I don't know where to start. I'm like, guys, please don't ask me questions like that. It's really not fair. It's really not fair. If you want to start a business, do your research and start the business. If you come to me and say, listen, I'm unsure about this, I've already done my research, but help me out. Yeah, I'll help you out. But you can't expect me to live your life for you. You want to start a business, you don't know where to start. Why is that my problem? Why is that my issue? So be clear about what you want to do and be clear about how you're going to go about it. A lot of people start businesses and then they come back to people like us and say, oh, Amanda, uh, help me. How do I get a market? When you were busy starting that business, what were you thinking is going to happen with your products? So unfortunately, I don't have the capacity to babysit your life for you, you know? So do your research. I think people don't want to do their research. They don't want to do the hard work. They just want to copy what others are doing. But that's not going to help you, you know? So someone who comes to me and says, oh, I have this business and we're now producing stuff, but I have no one to sell it to. When you start a business, you need to be clear about who's going to buy your product or your service, because that determines your success. You can have the most amazing product and nobody cares. You can have the most amazing service and nobody cares. So upfront, you should be thinking about things like that. But anyway, um, most importantly, you must be adaptable. You must adapt, because things change quickly in business, and during these COVID times, I think we've really been tested. And you can't keep to the same business model even when the operating field has changed. So if your landscape has changed, you must learn to adapt to it, particularly if you are servicing a specific type of client. So I've had to also put my own learnings into everyday use. I've had to make some quick calls. So this thing around our offices, we've been there for um, for 5 years. And I'm thinking, we don't need all that office space. But now I'm caught up between that rent or buy decision. And I'll make the decision because I am very decisive. But I'm exploring all avenues because there are really great buildings, absolutely modern, where you can just go and you have full service. You rent a desk or rent a couple of a space in that, So I'm exploring that, but then I'm also remember I have to think about our graduates. I need to have space for them. So, and I'm also a person that doesn't like just paying rent. So I'm always thinking, in the 5 years that I've been paying rent, I could have paid the property off. So I'm that like, I'm in that zone right now, which is fantastic, by the way. uh, Fortunate says she has a problem of friends not lasting long. Do you think I'm the one who has a problem? Well, I don't know how old you are. I don't know what are some of the reasons why your friendships don't last long. Um, but I think this friend thing goes with your life stage. It's a life stage thing. There's different need for different friendships at different times in your life. You can expect that you'll probably lose the friends that you've grown up with, especially when you no longer have anything in common or you've all went ahead and live separate lives. So the friends you went to school with, that you went to varsity with, will probably not be around much in your adult life. Um, and then you also have friends that, the older you get, you no longer just become friends with people for the sake of being friends with people. So there has to be something that 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 um that connects you beyond just hanging out and talking rubbish. Um so it's all about so I'm also trying to read a question so that it doesn't fly by. So it's all about understanding where you are in your life and what you're looking for, and not just settle for anything. You don't have to have friends just for the sake of having friends, especially if you have bad friends or people who bring you negative energy. Then you'd rather be alone. So you are 32. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you're still evolving. Your friends will change over time, and I also believe friends are really quite seasonal. I'm not a believer in that you are stuck with the same people all your life. There might be some that stay long, you know, but the truth of it is that you grow, you evolve. What you liked when you were 25, you no longer like. I hope. I hope you grow. I hope you grow. So yeah, there's a sense of sorry, I just want to correct this question. There's a sense of evolution that you should never resist. And people that live your life, they should live your life. They must depart, like move on, and you must also learn to move on from friends and make new friends. This morning I went on a walk with my son, and okay, I just want to show you what this looks like now. Just give me a moment. See, it's looking really good. So I'll get some pieces done again. But that's looking really nice now. So let me brown some more pieces, and then I'll start adding the things we're gonna add for it to cook through. So, oh guys, I wish you could smell it. Woo! It smells so good. I love spices. Okay, so yeah, so I'd say that you mustn't hang on to friends just for the sake of it. Be clear about what you're looking for um, from people. And sometimes, I mean, I've had friends where I've connected with them at a purpose level. So let's say we like to raise funds for causes that are common, connect to that. But sometimes you find that that person is not really who I would be friends with for life. We just connected for a specific purpose. So I think maybe when you start looking at friendship, not as a life term thing, but more as a connection for specific reasons or connection for a specific purpose and for a specific season, because God does bring people into our lives that we need in that moment. I really believe in that. Whatever the learnings are, um, I think it's important not to be too dependent on people. You know, the critical thing is be your own company first, be your own friend first, because then when you know what you like about yourself, when you reconciled the things that you want from other people, it's easier to, when you've reconciled what you want from yourself, it's easier to then to look at that in other people. Uh, but I mean, at your age, you should be focusing on the things that matter, and in fact, you should be opening yourself up to meeting more and more people. Because the older you get, your friends, the number of friends you have gets even smaller, but you've got quality friendships. So you've got great quality friendships. But you also get to a point where you realize that not everyone has to be titled friend. So not everyone is your BFF and should never be. You know, you get to appreciate that some people are just people you know. Some people are actually people you like, but are not necessarily your close friends or your friends. Some people are you like what they do and you connect with what they do and you team up with them for something. Some people you enjoy at work, you enjoy them in the work context. I mean, I've had a lot of friends that I connected with at work, but when we stopped working together, we stopped being friends, you know. So, but it doesn't mean we don't know each other. We still know each other, but we're not friends anymore. Um, so I think that the definition of friend also, you have to be a bit more particular about who you classify as a friend, who you know, and it's okay to just have people that you know. You don't have to have a close friend all the time. There's an evolution that happens in life, and you're blessed to have friends that are wonderful in your life. I mean, I have in fact, I have one of my friends, Zandile, is I've been friends with Zandile for 23 years. Um, but I mean, we don't talk every day. We don't we don't call each other every day. She now lives in another city. Even when she was in Joburg, we didn't like hook up every day, but we're friends. You know, she's one person I know will show up whenever I need her. She knows that, you know, I'm here. And there's friends that I've come across over the years that I've been friends with. My friend Lillian, I've been friends with for 9, 10 years. You know, there are people that I'm close to that I've only been friends with in the last year or in the last 2 years. And there are people I was close to for a long time, and then that also changed, you know. So I don't think you should be so hung up on friends being an issue. In fact, I think you should find some hobbies. Find some hobbies, Fortunate. The more you have things to do in your life, and hobbies can be anything you enjoy doing outside of people, you know, outside of company. Um, and and also volunteer for great causes. That also has a great way of giving you a sense of purpose in life. Yeah, so yeah, the walk with my son, it was about friendships. He's a very social being, so he usually has some things to say about friends, whereas the girls have got, you know, because they're also slightly older, they have a set of friends, and they've had that since last year in high school. The second year of high school, it's the same friends. They're not really opening much up for others. Um, but with my son, he's highly social and has a lot of there's some dramas in his social life. So this morning when went for a walk around 6:30, I do my walks around that time, um, and he was up, so I said, "Come, let's go for a walk," and we went, and he was telling me about this one friend he's had. He's had him for a while. I mean, since they were in grade one, I think, and he's in grade six now. So, that he's not he's not nice to him anymore. He sees him at school. When he tries to talk to him, he's very like, iffy, doesn't want to play with him anymore. So I had to give him the lesson that, just give him space. Maybe he's going through his own things. And I said, I mean, you also have moods. You are going through puberty. You have your own moods. You have your own, you know, you have your own rhythm in your life. So give him some space. And you have good friends now. So focus on the friends that you have. And so you kind of like have to constantly be talking, especially people who are quite social. And at this age, to be honest, everything is about friends. So it does impact them, their mental state of mind, if they're having a friend issue. And we can tell sometimes his friends are fighting with each other, and you can tell we can literally tell when there's something wrong. And he'll tell you, okay, yeah, my friends are fighting, or something. But we evolve as people. Nontogozo says, I'm watching with my 11-year-old son, and he says, you look 26 years old. Thank you. I sleep a lot, I drink a lot of water, and I mind my own business. Thank you very much. So, yeah, and Tabile says, and also making peace with the fact that, sorry, that has gone. So, yeah, around friendships, I think I've said a mouthful. So, so I think that, thank you, Fortunate. The other point, there was a question here which I'm just going to read through. Tina says, risking means you put in capital even when there is no return coming through. And we're talking about business, right? After how long do you stop putting in the capital and weigh viability? Well, only you can answer that question for yourself, because everyone has a different threshold, right? So only you know when you've put enough. So I always say that by year number 3, your business must be on its own 2 feet and paying you back. So if your payback period is longer than 3 years, and you still have to keep putting money in, then I'm not saying throw in the towel. I'm saying just revisit your business model, revisit the kind of business you are in, revisit why you are in business. Because I can tell you, without fail, I have found that every time I try to do business for money, and as in where the sole purpose was money, it didn't work out, because I'm not that person. I'm not driven by money. So the businesses that are successful, that are succeeding year in, year out, are the businesses where it is a purpose-led business. So if you are solving a social problem, if you're solving a real problem, I find that those businesses have longevity, have legs. I mean, in the middle of COVID, my project management business was still profitable. Even though we had projects that were cut, we had clients that cut the hours, so, but because I feel like I'm in business to solve a social problem, to create jobs. So somehow we still manage to hang on to some jobs, and the purpose leads to the money. So the money will come, it will come, but you have to be clear about why are you in business? What are you trying to achieve? What problem are you solving? And it can't just be about money only. Yeah, you need to generate the cash. That's why you're in business. Generate the cash to be able to do these purpose things that I talk about. That's my approach to it. But so I'm just saying, revisit your business model if things are not working out for a long time. Because I doubt you have money just sitting there to be wasted on businesses that are not being productive. But only you will know when you've put in enough, when you've had enough, when it's like, I've done everything I possibly can. Only you will know that. So I suggest that you rather do that work yourself, and see how you're holding up. But it can't be easy. So just be a little smart about it, and also get in a business coach. Sometimes a business coach will really help you. They will help you understand where you may be missing a trick. Because sometimes we get so caught up in our in the survival mode, that you miss real opportunities that exist, that are right in front of you. So yeah, that's what I would suggest. Get a business coach, and they can help you along. All right, let me show you what it looks like now, and what our next steps will be. Let's see. Actually, see how good that looks. That really looks beautiful. So whilst you're here, what I'm going to do is add some tomato paste. So I've got some tomato paste. Oh, okay, that's not good. Okay. So I'm going to add all of this. This is just tomato paste. Okay. Then what I'm going to do, in fact, is let me just add the vegetables first, because what I'm going to do, I want them to cook with the meat. Because the tagine cooks the meat quite tender, I'll just add the vegetables now, and you'll see these vegetables will become the gravy, so they'll thicken the gravy. Okay, so let's do that. Okay. That's looking good. And then what I'm also going to do is add some canned tomatoes. And in this can of tomato, I'm also going to add some stock. So I'm adding some vegetable stock. I'm just going to add some. Okay. All right. So that I'm just going to let it cook. So you can see things are looking good over here. Okay. So I'm just going to put this back on the stove. And I'll add a little bit more water just for the cooking process. But not too much, because the tagine keeps all that moisture. So I'll put this back on the stove. And this time I'm going to close it, okay? And just let it cook. Okay. All right. This other question says, so yeah, I think we're on the business side. The question was, after how long do you stop? Stop putting capital in way viability. Only you know that. Only you know how much how far you've gone, how much effort you've put in. A business coach might give you a different perspective. But also, I mean, if it's a business where you can get investors in, start getting other people's money to grow the business. I think investors respect the fact that you've already put in your own skin in the game. They respect that you've already gone as far as you can, especially if you've got a good concept or a good business. You can find people that are willing to invest in it. So I'd say do that. And then this other question says, I have more male friends than females, and it tends to worry me at times. Do you think it's right to build stronger friendships with the opposite sex? I don't believe that friendship has anything to do with sex, or the gender of the people you are being friends with. Friendship is about connecting with people. And if you're connecting with more males than females, and I also think that's also a life stage thing, to be honest. I used to be like that. I only had male friends for a long time. When I was when I was growing up, more like in my 20s, my 20s, my 20s and early 30s, I had more male friends. In fact, just before I got married, I think it's a fact of life that as a woman, your life changes a bit when you get married. So before I got married, I had a lot of male friends, and I would hang out with them. You know, I would, you know, it was the thing that we did. My friends and I had a lot of male friends. I could not stomach being friends with women. I just found it too dramatic and too draining. That's just always drama. I don't like drama. so so I just connected more with males, and I don't think there was an actual deliberate or conscious decision that said I don't want to be friends with women. No, I just my personality lended itself more to being friends with males. But that changed when I got married because I mean, okay, let's be honest. I'm a married woman with kids. There I am running the streets with men. Yeah, I'm still friends with some males, but it's not a daily occurrence that we are chatting or we are pretty much like my female friends, to be honest. And I have friends, male friends that will come to the house, but they are friends that my husband knows and is comfortable with as well, because you can't just be having men coming to your home. You know, it's a even with him, he clearly used to have lots of female friends before we got married. But there's an unspoken agreement once you get married that you will respect each other, you will respect your home. Um, and even my friends, my female friends, don't just come to my house at any given time or just you don't find people loitering around my house. It's I mean this is my safe haven, this is my space. So again, it's about life stage. So things change. And I still have male friends, but I'm not that close to my male friends as I may have been a long time ago. Even they have changed. So they've evolved. There are male friends I used to be friends with. They're no longer friends. I'm no longer friends with now. You know, and yeah, and then there are humans that you could just connect. I just connect to human beings. I don't I don't just stick to one gender because I think you're limiting yourself and you're limiting the perspective. You're limiting a very special point of view. So I would say there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you're connecting with the people that you choose to connect with. Because you can also be in relationships and friendships with males and it's quite toxic as well. So it's not just women are the only ones that can bring the drama. There are some male friends who are born for it too. so so yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Abongile says, have you ever worked for someone else, Sis Amanda? Yeah, I have. You don't know me very well then. You must be new to me. Read my books. Actually, you can just Google me. You'll get a lot of information. The one thing I can tell you, I'm not in Forex, I'm not in Bitcoin, I'm not in trading. So all those people who have some connection, who may have connected with me on Facebook, if I've contacted you, just know it's not me. So I'm not on that in that. That actually, before I answer this question, that's one of the things that I've also had to kind of deal with is people impersonating me, particularly on Facebook. They also do it on other platforms, but Facebook, they're running rampant. So I decided, you know what, I had left Facebook because I'm just like, I don't have a need for that platform. But I decided to go back and actually tackle the impersonators, expose them, that is, because Facebook is not doing anything about it. So I've made it a point. I run promotions now. I pay money to warn people about fake accounts. Because I can sit here and say, I don't care. The people should be wise enough to not fall for scammers. But the truth is, I'm not a person that's just not going to care. I do care that people get scammed. I do care that my face is being used for that. So people have got to be very vigilant. I will never contact you. Let's just be clear. I won't contact you. I don't know you. And I also won't contact you for any investment, for any trading. I will not put my number on a public platform. That alone should already give a person an indication. But you know, Somebody said to me the other day, because I was saying I don't understand, I don't get it, how people can still be so gullible and fall for scammers online, and this obsession with famous people that you think are gonna make you money or make you rich in some way. And she said to me, the thing is that you are looking at it from your perspective and where you are, but there are people who do not have the level of perspective that you have. But guys, there are basic things like, okay, so let's assume really you believe you are engaging with me, and I'm this famous businesswoman who's succeeded through trading, who's succeeded. Um, do you think, just in your world, in the world that is of your perspective, do you think that I would put my cell phone number on public platforms? Why would I do that? I don't even give people my number. So again, it's this obsession, and some people get so excited that Amanda is contacting them. It's not me. I won't contact you. That I can assure you. I don't contact people I don't know. Why? What am I contacting you for? I don't. I Even if, let's assume for whatever reason I had some business thing that I wanted to do. Why would I contact you in particular if I wanted to talk about business? So some of these things I really do believe are basic, and you must protect yourself, and you cannot keep coming to us and say, oh, you scammed me. No, I didn't scam you. You got yourself scammed. There's a big difference. You got yourself scammed. So I hate it, and I don't like it when people contact me and tell me, "Oh, these are fake accounts." I don't want to know. Just report it, because it doesn't do anything for my mental wellness to keep telling me about fake accounts. I know they exist, a lot of them. I get to deal with them. I know they exist. Just report it. Don't tell me. It's not like you get brownie points for telling me. I get annoyed, in fact. So it's a big problem in my life, and I've been dealing with it through lawyers. But ultimately, people must protect themselves. And on Instagram, I still have people send me fake accounts. Guys, I have a blue tick on Instagram. Why am I still engaging in being told about fake accounts? Just report it, because you know it's not real. So again, it's just some of those things that I find to be irritating in this social media world. But I know that people are trying to help, but some actually send it to me and laugh about it, and laugh about how, oh wow, today you are Hannah, tomorrow you are the. And I said, I don't find it funny. I don't find it funny at all, in fact, because people are getting scammed by these accounts. So there's nothing funny about that. But some people find it amusing. I'm like, actually, if it hasn't happened to you, maybe you find it funny, right? So, and I understand that. I've even had one of my friends laugh about it. But I told him, I said, actually, it's not funny at all. It's not funny at all, because until it happens to you, you'll appreciate how difficult this thing is. And people will see you succeeding here and they think you are doing it through your money. I've never, ever done, there's no one on earth that can claim that I took anything from them to make myself rich or succeed. So I do care in that sense. Anyway, I have no idea. Oh, yeah, it's someone that asked me if I've ever worked for anyone else. I've worked for companies, yes. I haven't worked for someone else. I've worked for companies. I left corporate 8 years ago. Um, this question is, what's your biggest regret? I don't have regrets. I don't believe in regrets. I think it's a wasted emotion. Firstly, because if I make a decision, when I make a decision, the decision seems like the right decision at the time. So, if the outcome is not what I had intended or wished for or desired, that doesn't mean that I must regret the decision, because if I was in the same position, in the same place, with the same information at hand, I probably would have made exactly the same decision. So I don't believe in regrets. And I mean, if you make mistakes in life, you have an opportunity to fix it, you fix it. There's nothing that I've done that I regret. And in fact, I really think that people, with hindsight, everything is clearer. Of course, that's how things are. But if you start regretting, what are you hoping to achieve? What is that going to achieve? So I'm very. I don't waste my energy on emotions that I can't change or things that I can't change. If it's gone, it's gone. I have to take the lesson from it and move right along. So, and I think a life filled with regret is a sad life, because you're getting stuck in a place where you can't go back to. So the only gift I have is now. You know, tomorrow is not guaranteed. Yesterday is gone. So I only have now. If I didn't like the outcome of what I did yesterday, I have today to make a different decision. Um, I have today to look back on the decisions I made and see, okay, next time when I have the opportunity to make that decision, what information, what extra information do I need to increase my chances of the desired outcome? And you know, next week I want to talk about self-sabotage. And one of the signs of self-sabotage are, or the kinds of people that self-sabotage are perfectionists and control freaks who want, and I'm using control freak because it's a commonly used language, but you know, people who always want to control the outcome, who want to control those around them, have a higher degree of regret than people who don't. Because I'm very clear, I can't control anything external of me. I can put in the right effort, I can make the right decisions, I can follow my gut and trust that the decisions I'm making are going to yield the desired outcomes. But I cannot control what happens beyond that. So I think it's self-sabotage to keep thinking that you can change things, that you can control people, you can change the outcome of things. And I don't live in regret. I don't have regret. If I regret how I acted, that's a different conversation. Um, it's not that I'm living in regret. It's that I wish I had reacted differently. Then I'll go and fix that. I mean, the other day I said something to my husband that was completely unnecessary, and and I felt, you know, when you feel that, oh, actually that was really unnecessary. You don't have to be a wise ass about everything. And my husband will tell you, he's not deep. He's not that deep a person. It's like, I'm not that deep, you know. But because I'm an extremely deep person, sometimes, you know, I have to watch what I say to him, because sometimes he might say something to me, not looking for a deep answer. You know, he's just, I mean, he was complaining about having to go train with someone. So I said, well, your boundaries are porous. Why don't you, if you don't want to go, why? you, it was really unnecessary. But I think also it was around the day I was doing the boundaries conversation. So I was fully charged. And I mean, 2 days later, I took him out for breakfast and I said, I'm really sorry. It was really unnecessary of me to act like that. It was not necessary for me to be such a wise ass about what you were saying, because it didn't require. But also I said to him, you know, the truth is that I was trying to say something, but it came out not. It didn't. The intended thing I meant to say was not. Didn't come out that way, you know. So, and what I wanted to say to him was he overworks himself because he's trying to do things for people. He goes to things that he doesn't want to go to, but he'd rather just rest. But so I'm saying to him, you're burning out, and I can see it. You're headed towards, you know, a crash if you don't start curbing your ways of working, and also start to say no to people. So, but the way that I said it, it was not exactly necessary. So I owned that. So things like that, yes, I get that. You know, we don't always act in the way that we know ourselves to be, for whatever reason. But that's why there's apologies. That's why there's genuine apology to say, listen, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to make you feel bad about yourself or anything like that, because I'll never do that. I'm not a person that makes others feel small about themselves. I'll tell the truth exactly as it is. Yes, I can't control how you feel, but if my words came out and pained you, then I have to own that in some shape or form. So yeah, that's why I don't have regrets. I don't have any regrets. And I take life as not a there's no script to it. You know, there's no you must you must do X, therefore, yeah, there are things that become apparent in your life. There are things that perspectives that you may not have known, but there's a flow that I like to go with. I just live, and I'm clear about what my vision is, and I'm clear about, what I'm willing to compromise on and not. I'm clear about what my values are, but I'm not gonna be so obsessed about outcomes. I think outcomes are the beautiful surprise in life. It's the spice of life where you trust your gut, you make the right decision, but you don't always have everything in hand, So you just go with it. You just go with it. Um, so I'll come back to this other question. Let me answer Anderson's question. Says, do you ever procrastinate? If yes, how do you get yourself to get working? I don't procrastinate. I think it's a wasted emotion because you're procrastinating about something that you are going to have to eventually do anyway. So if you haven't heard me say it, I'm very efficient about time. I'm very efficient about how I use my time. I'm very efficient about how I use my energy. So I don't procrastinate. And a lot of times, in fact, we'll talk about about procrastination when we talk about self-sabotage next week. A lot of people who procrastinate is also a sign of self-sabotage because often people want to leave something down to the last minute because subconsciously people who procrastinate subconsciously, you are sabotaging yourself because if you actually put in the right effort and did this thing, you're going to do it to the best of your ability. So a lot of people who procrastinate like to use this term, I like to work under pressure. No, you don't. Nobody does. Nobody does. So, but it's a habit that you teach yourself. So procrastination at another level, people who procrastinate a lot leave things right to the last minute so that they don't give it their best shot. So subconsciously, you're sabotaging yourself because if you just gave it your best shot and you allowed yourself the time and space to do it, you would do really well. So, but it's a concept that I wanna talk about next week. And I won't lie, it's getting very deep from it's getting quite deep from here on. So I don't procrastinate because why would I do that? And I don't like to be pressurized. I'm that person. I'm very sticky about time, and in fact, I'll tell you how sticky I am about time. If I've invited you to my house for lunch at a certain hour, if you're not there at that hour, I start dishing up because I don't like heating up food, and I don't eat frozen food. So I'm a person that cooks fresh every time, and the food must be eaten from pot to plate. I don't have an oven warmer. I don't have I have microwaves for very different reasons. So um, I am sticky about time because I know what time means for me. So that means when I have something to do, I'd rather do it and get it out of the way and relax than wait until the last minute. Because when you wait until the last minute, you don't give yourself enough room to make changes, to fine tune. You don't give yourself enough, if not enough space to think. So procrastination is a sign of self-sabotage, and we'll unpack that. But I'll also show you one of the ways that I live my life. You'll see in this house there's different vibes going on. I'm the kind that wants to leave the house at 40 minutes before the school starts. The school is only like 10 minutes from the house, but I want the kids to get there. They're calm. No one is running around. I'm calm. I'm not fighting traffic. So I'm that person that will leave the house at 10 to 7 when the school starts at 20 to 8. But my husband is the one that will leave at 25 past 7 and still get stuck in traffic. And then the kids get to school and they're running to class. So it's two different vibes. And he's also that person that will leave things till the last minute. And I don't necessarily think he does that out of procrastination, but I think it's because he's got so much to do. So I don't really like anything that puts pressure on me. I think there's enough pressure around. And I'm very clear, if you're rushing, you know, you don't even have room to, often when I take kids to school early, then my son forgot something, then I have to drive back to school. But if you've left yourself no time at all, you don't have room to play around. You don't have room to fix something. You don't have room to, to change something. So for me, yeah, procrastination is not, I've never, ever, ever in my life had that. But also remember, I've never had a life where I had a backup plan, like I had someone to back me up. I was always the backup plan. I was actually the only plan. There was no backup to the plan. I was the only plan, which meant that if I had a job to do, I had to do it to the best of my ability. If I had a presentation to do, even at varsity, I finished my degree 6 months early because I just poured myself into it. So my friends at varsity would always think, I've always been seen as this goody two shoes type person, and that's okay. They had mothers and uncles and fathers that they could call upon and ask them to bail them out. I didn't. So procrastination was never an option for me. Even in my job, I'm that person, if something needs to be done, let's get it done now and get it out of the way. Whereas some people, you'll still be like 2 days later, have you done that thing? And they're like, oh no, it's on my to-do list. I don't have a to-do list. I just do things, get them out of my way because that gives me more time to relax. I'll come back to this question. Let me go back to the one that I said I would answer. And this question is, who was my mentor or who is my mentor? I'll come back to that. And then this one. So let me quickly just snap this particular question. Let me start with the one I was going to answer previously. So just give me a moment. So this question says, not sure how to phrase this question, but I want to ask you how you structure your day to day to be efficient and achieve your your goals. Do you use to-do lists or other methods of prioritizing? Funny enough, I didn't even see this question. I think I just already answered it. I'm very fast and efficient in how I work. A lot of people can't keep up with me. I think fast. I work fast. I don't drag myself around for anything. I don't like things piling up. I don't have to-do lists because if I have something to do, I'll do it now. I think the only time I have to-do lists is more for household stuff, like I need to remember to call something, or for something, to fix something. But I don't have, my work does not pile up. I don't have emails that I didn't respond to. Yeah, no, I'm highly efficient in how I work. Yes, there are things that can wait till tomorrow. I mean, those don't qualify as in this answer, because those are things that I will do tomorrow. But they're not. It's not. I have this pile of things to do, because I work efficiently and I get things done. People can't keep up. I'm telling you, they can't keep up. But I've also had to learn to just allow my team space to work the way that they work. But I don't take off the expectation. The expectation is that we have to work fast. In my line of work, if you're not fast enough, somebody else is going to take the project. So you constantly have to be on your toes and working. That's why I say my team, I don't approve of people working long hours, and there's no need for it. You've got the hours. Do your work in the hours and go home, eat soup with your family. On the weekend, have a life. We don't work on weekends. We don't, nothing like that. So if you can't achieve that kind of balance or wellness in your life if you keep things piling up, because then you're gonna have to take the weekend to do those things. And I frown upon that heavily. I don't work on weekends. I don't work during the times I'm not supposed to work. But because I own my own business, so sometimes you need to send an email here and there. Yeah, I do that. And one of the things I learned is, even if I'm working outside of the cycle of working, so sometimes, let's say, I decide to take the week off, but I know that there's things I have to do. So I can do those things in let's say in the late afternoon when I'm done with whatever I'm doing in the day. But when I send emails to my team in the night, I set them to only send in the morning. So to only send the emails in the morning. So I can work and send things so that they come out of my inbox, come out of my to-do list, because I don't want a to-do list. I don't have a to-do list. But whatever I need to do must be done and go. So instead of sending it during the times that they are not working, I then set it to go off in the mornings. Outlook can do that, which is wonderful. So yeah, I don't, and because I always have things, my way of working can exhaust some people, but for me, it energizes me. Um, when something comes in, I act on it. When something comes in, I do it. I don't wait. So that allows me to have time. So if there's a million things that I need to do, how do I prioritize? Well, you only have to do the things that are urgent in that moment, assuming all are important. So which one is urgent? You get that out of the way, then you move to the next thing. But this is why again I said when you have a team, and when you have people who can take off certain things, because you don't have to hire a team, you can outsource some things in your business to take the pressure off you. Your aim should always be about how do you take the pressure off you. And I've reached a life stage where honestly I no longer work hard, even though it looks like I work hard, because I am that person. I'm wired to work hard, but I've grown to work much smarter. But the way I work is hard work for other people. But for me, I've actually started to slow down in my life. Just want to live in the countryside and grow vegetables. So yeah, I work a lot, hard, but my hard is a different conversation to other people's hard now, because I really feel like I've earned my stripes. I've put in the hard yards. I can't be working like a slave anymore. I'm way past that stage of my life. My business is way past that stage. And I think the person that was saying, when do you know um, when you've put in too much, or when will you know you've put in too much money into your business? Your business is supposed to start paying you back at some point for the risk that you take and everything that you put in. And I can it's a stressful thing when that doesn't happen. I mean, I've been there. I've shut down businesses before because they were not paying. I put in too much, you know. So yeah, I hope that helps. Who's my mentor? I don't have a mentor. Um, I have friends that I talk to. I have friends where if there's something I need their opinion on, I'll call them. But I don't have a mentor. I've never had a mentor. I did have an advisor. I guess in some shape or form you could say a mentor, but he was more business mentor, business advisor than mentor. But he passed away in 2017. So he was the guy I would go to for any advice on how to structure my businesses. I do a lot. I do investments in businesses, so I acquire shares in businesses, and I would talk to him about that. Whenever I was doing a transaction like that, I would talk to him. He would guide me through it. So he was more my business advisor, and I valued his opinion a great deal. He was my husband's best friend as well. So unfortunately, he passed away, which meant that again I had to dig deep and find my own voice and trust my own instinct. Um, why don't I have a mentor? I've had a coach before. I've had a coach when I was in the corporate world, and I had a coach because I was a director at a bank. I was quite young. There's a lot of things going on. I needed to have somebody I could just bounce off my thoughts on. Because as a leader, you can't run around the corridors complaining and being negative. Your responsibility as a leader is to uphold the values of the organization. But sometimes you don't agree with the values of the organization. So it's not ideal for a leader to be negative and turn their own staff against the company. You're a leader for a reason. So where you need someone that you can talk to about those things. You need someone where you can vent and unabated. So I had a coach that helped me. That was more career coach. And then I um I just I've always had to rely on myself. I've always had to rely on myself. So I don't have external people that I need to help me make decisions. Even my own husband, I just make decisions sometimes. I don't consult him on everything. There are things that, yeah, if it impacts him, I'll consult him. But I've always been emotionally, mentally, and otherwise incredibly independent. Doesn't mean I don't need people. I've had to train myself to say I need people. I've had to train myself to say, Amanda, you need people. So I've never had anyone that I relied on. I've always had to rely on my own gut, and sometimes it comes across when I answer some questions here, because some questions to me seem so basic and so, you know, but why is this a problem, right? But that's because my perspective has always been trusting myself, trusting that the decisions I make are correct, the decisions I make will yield the desired outcomes. So I've never had to rely on someone to check on my thinking or check my decisions, because ultimately, even if you ask me, you still have to make the decision. So and I've always been 100% accountable for my life and my decisions, my thoughts, my actions, 100% accountable. So I don't have anyone that I would say, oh yeah, no, I can blame you if things don't go right, or you gave me bad advice. No, it's full on me, 100%. And that is what we call personal mastery. Personal mastery is when you are so self-assured and you understand your limitations, yes, and then you go do research. So it doesn't mean I don't get advice. I'm the type that researches something. There's a topic I need to know about. My instinct is not call somebody. My instinct is find the information yourself. Um, and yeah, so let me just show you this quickly. Show you what it looks like. How beautiful is that? Okay, look at that. It just looks so beautiful. Yeah. So I'll let it cook some more. But it's looking really good, guys, and it smells amazing. Amazing. I absolutely love these kinds of food. I love soulful food. I'm not the person you'll see eating a salad every day. No, I'll die. My family would die. So I'm just gonna let that cook some more. It really is looking so good. How much time have we got left? Okay, so anyway, so I'm gonna serve that with couscous. And those who haven't seen me make couscous, I'll show you how to make couscous. You just boil some water. So I'm gonna boil some water. Then I'll show you how to make couscous. It really is. It looks amazing. And then I'm gonna add some chickpeas and some fresh coriander. So I'm using canned chickpeas. Typically I cook my own chickpeas, but chickpeas take a long time to cook. Um, so I'll just use the canned ones. They work fine. And then I'll put some fresh herbs. And that will be our meal done. Yeah. So where was I? Yeah. So about the mentor, I've never had one. But I know where to find everything I'm looking for, and I also have a great support structure. So sometimes there are things that I'll ask my husband. Um, Sometimes there are things that I'll ask my friends, and sometimes, but when I say my friends, it's one person that I would typically ask something. Um, yeah, otherwise the rest of it I find the answers myself. So I've never had to have a mentor. I don't need a mentor. I don't feel like I need a mentor. So I'm happy to be the mentor. But I must tell you that next week I want to talk about self-sabotage, because throughout this work that I do, I've found that there are people who, sorry, don't know what that is. I don't know what it is. Let me check. Give me a moment. Oh, it's the oven. I must have touched it by mistake. Oh yeah, so there are people that really don't know how to be happy. There are people who don't know how to be happy. And it's not because they don't have everything they need to be happy. It's because they just don't know how to be happy. And a lot of those things stem from many different reasons. And we cannot ignore childhood experiences as some of those things. So sometimes we grow up observing how our caregivers carry on with life, and we mimic that as we grow older. So sometimes things don't have to be overtly said or experienced, or said or acted out, but the experience is still the same. So in all of my life, I get really sad when I meet people who have everything it takes to be happy, but they don't know how to be happy. And and I must tell you that there are many different ways that people sabotage themselves unconsciously. So it's not that they wake up and say, "I don't want to live a great life," or there are people who have an amazing life, but they don't feel like it is amazing. And competition is also one of the biggest things when it comes to self-sabotage, is this thinking that for someone to win, someone must lose, you know. And that thinking is deeply rooted in some of the ways that we were brought up, and in some of the ways that we believe. I actually really honestly cannot relate to people that constantly compare others, compare. And I must give you a personal example. I I started with twins, so my first children are twins, and one of the things that made me even stop going to see family is the way they kept comparing them. And even when they were babies, I was like this big protective mama bear, and I still am, where, oh, you are like this, and oh, this one is like this, oh, you do this, oh, but you don't do that, she does it. And I can see how, I mean, people, because twins, particularly identical twins, is not a common occurrence. In fact, guys, there are countries where twins, identical twins is something that's not heard of. I'll tell you, a lot of Asian people, particularly Chinese people, I mean, twins are not quite common there, but also just having, remember the one child policy for a long time, where you are not allowed to have more than one child. So I remember when they would tour in Cape Town, when we lived in Cape Town, and by the waterfront where I used to work, there was our offices were based in the waterfront, where there were tourists galore during the tourist season. Chinese people would give my children money just because they've never seen anything like this. Oh wow. So I don't take money from strangers, but I mean, I was like, okay, we'll take it. So I'm so protective of that kind of energy where people are being compared, because I had to be aware of it right up front, because I knew it was going to happen. But what you keep doing when you keep comparing people, comparing children, you are like this, the other one is like that. Yeah, they're different, but that doesn't make them better than the other. And the unfortunate thing when we compare and we keep telling them and comparing them is what we're saying. For the one to be like this, the other one doesn't have to be. And I don't know if a lot of people grasp the depth of what I'm saying. And it's something that I find is very disturbing in society, and it probably is the root of a lot of our problems, where uh, one person must lose for the other to win. You know, it's like, oh, one person must be able to dance for the other one. So when it comes to dancing, there's either one who can dance or who can't dance. Who made up that rule? Who says that this one you can dance? If in your head you believe you're dancing. Who said, I mean, the other day, my son, in fact, talked to us about it and told us about something that had happened at home, here at home with the housekeeper, where they've been compared, their room is never clean, but the girl's room is always tidy. He didn't like it. He said he doesn't like it because it's made to seem like the girls are better than them. So I had to explain to him that actually there's also the facts of the matter, which are you don't clean your room when you're supposed to clean your room. The girls do, but doesn't make the girls better than you than you. So I had to also bring the housekeeper and bring him and say, okay, you tell Sissy that you are not happy when she says things like this. So it's an interesting topic that we're going to tackle, but competition and comparison is at the core of self-sabotage, and thinking that for someone to win, one must lose. And often people put themselves in a losing position even when they are winning, because they believe that someone must lose, and they are the ones that are chosen to lose. So it's gonna be an interesting conversation, which I've started preparing for. So anyway, here's this question: what have you found to be the common and consistent trait in your successful fellows? Um, Again, okay. Let me answer it this way. My definition of success and other people's definition of success may not be the same. So I don't look at people with a lens that the world uses. So I don't look at people and say, because you have money, you're successful. No, that's not my measure of success. So I want to say to you, um, I don't think there's a common and consistent trait in people that I deem successful, because there's no one definition of success. Um, but if we talk about how the world sees success, when we talk about money or material things or the ability to buy things, I don't look at money that way. Because you have money, I don't believe you're successful. There are people who may have money but still don't act like they're successful. So to me, what does success mean? Success means money is important because it buys you financial freedom. So for me, success is financial freedom. Why is financial freedom important? Financial freedom is important because you don't get to tolerate just about anything because you need money from somebody or you are financially dependent on somebody. It means that you don't have to get stuck in relationships or jobs that you don't like or where you're being abused purely because you need money. So it also means you have the ability to fund your dreams. You have the ability to fund your children's dreams. You have the ability to fund your socio-economic development activities. I support a lot of charities. In fact, I do a lot of philanthropic work and charity work that I don't publicize. Where I publicize it because the public has been involved or I'm trying to bring attention to that particular cause. But so money means that for me. It's the ability to change society, because I really have a big belief that God gives me resources in order to do his work. And then I also say to God, but since I'm doing the work, can I also have a little enjoyment of the thing? So I know a lot of people who have a lot of money will not dare donate, contribute even a cent. You are not successful to me if you are like that. So I don't necessarily think that I see the world as common and consistent traits in successful people. No. But the one thing I can tell you, the ones that I believe are successful are the people that know how to change their world through the resources that they've been gifted. It's, to me, success really comes when more and more people around you are succeeding because of your ability to help them succeed. not to hand over things to them, but to enable their success. So, and those people, I can tell you, are very driven by purpose. They're very driven by making a difference. They're very driven by something that's bigger than themselves, something that's outward of themselves. That's why I will connect with people like that. But again, there may be people who don't have all that resource but do exactly the same thing, because everything is relative. Everything is relative. To you, 300 rands might not be a lot of money, but to somebody else, it's a lot of money. So yeah, but I can maybe say that what are some of the traits that I recognize in myself, and those that I classify as successful. Um, it's that, that determination to make a difference, that determination to make a difference, and that attitude of positivity, the attitude of positivity, and never saying it's not my problem. That attitude of always wanting to do something, even if it's little, but it's something. And not sitting back and blaming others, and not sitting back and letting circumstances dictate how they show up. Um, there are people, there's a lady I met in Botswana who, all the ladies made a great impact on me, but there's one who made such a lasting impact that I was chatting to her during the week. People who who understand what their purpose is, and will do everything it takes to meet that. And my conversations with her are around the fact that you also can't keep leaving yourself behind. But I admire I admire her ability to withstand such challenges. So there's people, for me, that my definition of success is not typical. Um, yeah, we like money. It makes life easy, and it makes sure that want about trade. You know which ones I'm talking about. Unfortunately, people don't listen to you if you don't have much. So I think what money also does, or what resources do, is give you a platform from which you can use your voice. Um, but I only care about those who use their voice for good, not the ones who use their voice, because money can buy you any platform. But if you're using your voice to destroy, and divide, I don't have respect for you at all, and I never want to meet you. I don't want to be anywhere near you. In fact, I was saying this to a friend of mine, that I'm getting invited more and more. Um, every day I'm getting invited to join some cause, some platform, some association, some this, some that. But I'm probably the most difficult thing to ask to join anything, because I'm very particular. I'm very clear about how I go about doing my things. I'm very resolute in how I do my things. And I like to work alone. So I like to do things by myself, where I don't have to rely or consult or do anything like that. So if I want to support a charity of a certain kind, I'll go do that. I don't need to ask the president of the association if it's okay, or if it's part of the plan. So even in my company, I'm the only shareholder, because I don't like to consult. I just want to do what I believe is the right thing to do. So I'm at that life stage as well, where everything that comes on my plate, the answer is automatic no. It doesn't matter how glam it is. It doesn't matter how prestigious it is. I don't care for prestige anymore, because my idea, to be honest, I don't think I ever cared for it. My idea of success is not about what wonderful associations I belong to. My idea of success is how many lives have I changed. And I only get involved with platforms where I have got a high chance of changing people's lives in some shape or form. So I'm growing even more and more disassociated from things like that. And to be honest, I'm freaked out about groups of women. I think I have PTSD from groups of women. So I just want to stay doing my things. I don't need to consult. I don't need to have I don't have an issue with people and how they go about their lives. But so I have no idea how I got to that point. But let me tell you, I'm gonna add some peas now, so that we get some beautiful color, green color in our meal. Then let me show you quickly. And I'm going to add some chickpeas. I'm just going to drain them a bit because I don't want the water. Okay. So here's some chickpeas. And I'm going to use the whole can. Okay. Now look at the vegetables. You can see how the butternut is sipping in and just becoming part of the gravy. So, and this has nicely cooked now. It'll be perfectly soft by the time I serve it. How beautiful is it? And oh, it looks so good. So I'm just gonna add some coriander. I'm not gonna chop it up because I want it to be nicely chunky when we eat it. And then what I'm gonna do, add some black pepper. I'm just adding some black pepper. Okay. And then what I'm gonna do is just add some salt. Okay, so I'm just adding some sea salt. Remember, sea salt and table salt don't taste the same, so it might look like you're adding a lot, but you're not. Again, you must make sure your food is seasoned, because I mean it could be such a waste to have such a beautiful meal and it's not seasoned. Some people season in their own plate, others don't. So this is now perfectly seasoned. But what I'm going to do I'm going to put it back in the stove. But I'm going to add a little bit more water. So I'll give it a bit more water. And then our peas will cook through nicely. Because when I cook something like this, the kids even take it to school. So I don't want to run out of gravy. Okay. Look how beautiful that looks. It's amazing. And it smells divine. I'm also making a mess here. Okay. I think that's good. And that is our tagine, guys. That is our beautiful tagine. It's really amazing. I won't put any in my stock because I've added some. Just gonna taste that. That is so good. That is so good. So yeah, that's our meal for the day. Look at that. Okay, so beautiful. I'll just put it back and let it simmer till I serve. And you can add more herbs before you serve, whatever your preference is. Let me also, I've added some sauce on my milk. me also just show you how to make couscous, right? So my water boiled. So this is what I'm serving. I'm serving it with couscous, and this is just plain couscous. So show you. So I'll add a bit more, and then the water that I had boiled earlier, I'll just add. So with couscous, you must just make sure that there's equal amount of water. Add water and couscous. So it mustn't be too. I'll just add more here. There we go. Then what I'll just do is season it a bit. And I'll also touch of season, touch of salt, just a touch. Then I'm gonna let this stand for a few minutes. So that the trick is that the water must not come high above the couscous. It must be enough water, equal amounts, if I can put it that way, equal amounts. Okay, so I think that, I mean, the couscous, you then just let it stand. You don't cook it. You just let it stand. It's cooking now with the water. You let it stand for like 5 minutes, 5 minutes. Then you're ready to serve. And the nice thing about couscous, you can have it in salads. You can add chopped cucumbers, some tomatoes, some fresh herbs. You can do so much with it. No, Muriel, I appreciate the suggestion, but maybe you didn't join my initial sessions. It's not a cook along. It's just I'm cooking for my family. So those people who watch what I'm cooking, they can make it in their own time. It's not. This is not a cook along session, because if you have to cook along, I have to send you ingredients up front. I have to tell you what I'm cooking. I'm not that kind of cook. I just wake up and decide what I'm going to cook. So I don't want admin. These sessions are more about me answering some questions, tackling some topics, doing some mentorship. The cooking part is just what I do, because it's this time I would be cooking anyway for my family. So I appreciate the suggestion, but no, it's too much admin on my part. But I mean, people see what I'm making, and then they try it in their own spare time. Um, and I'm not a cooking. I'm not a chef. I'm just cooking at home. All right. So we have 10 minutes, just under 10, or just a little over 10 minutes. So yeah, just to wrap up, next week I am going to be talking about self-sabotage, what it is, how it shows up as, and what we can do to deal with it. And it's something that a lot of people, you know, may not be aware of. You may not be aware that you're doing it. And I've chosen self-sabotage for a reason, because I am following it up on the previous conversations we've had. So we've talked about boundaries, we've talked about self-esteem, and there's a correlation between self-esteem and self-sabotage. So if you haven't watched the previous sessions around self-sabotage, please do. And if you haven't watched any sessions, I suggest you do, because they will give you a sense of the topics that I'm tackling and why I'm tackling them. So I'll take this last question. Entla says, which industry of work in South Africa do you think the youth should consider getting into in order to reduce their unemployment rate? Well, here's what I'll tell you. Work is not going to come from corporates anymore, because over time, corporates have been downsizing. So I don't believe that the solution to our unemployment lies in corporates. But the solution lies in our ability and in the youth's ability to get up and do something for themselves. So I believe that In fact, I think the ministry that should be most effective and most funded is small business. But of course, I mean, our ministers aren't exactly shooting the lights out, right? So, unfortunately, we still have a huge contingency of youth sitting at home. But there's a difference between being unemployed and trying, and being unemployed and waiting for things to happen for you. So the people that are unemployed and trying, I hope those are people who are not just destroying their shoes looking for work in corporates, because you're not going to find it. You're not going to find it. Corporates continue to downsize. Corporates continue to replace, and artificial intelligence and machine learning is not just talk. We are in smack bang in the middle of helping our clients with that. So it's not a myth. More and more jobs are not going to be done by I'm not saying all jobs, I'm saying some jobs that are susceptible to machine learning. Corporates are not looking at how do we replace this job with more people. They're looking at how do we replace it with machine learning. How do we with machine? But I don't want to say machines like robots walking around. No, I mean robots in your computer. The ability for computers to think about. When I say robots in your computer, I mean robots that are your computer. So the ability for computers to do certain tasks is increasingly more and more. So where jobs are is not in large corporates. Jobs are in smaller businesses. Jobs are in creating the businesses yourselves. The youth has the biggest advantage of growing up with technology and growing up in an innovative type of mindset. So there is no reason why our youth should be sitting at home unemployed. Especially in South Africa, we've got such a serious youth unemployment problem. And a country with a youth unemployed is a country in serious trouble, because the explosions that we saw last year, the riots that we saw last year in July, those are not people who work, okay? Those are people who have too much time in their hands. And this, unfortunately, is what happens in a nation where the youth is not working. But the youth youth must not be looking to government. Government's not going to solve your problems, guys. I mean, the president told you, government doesn't create jobs. Whether he's turned around on his own words or not is not going to change your life. It's immaterial. You screaming how useless the government is, it's not going to change your life. What's going to change your life is you getting up to go sell some potatoes in the corner. Those gogos have been doing it for years. They've managed to take their kids through university. They've managed to build nations. So the youth, unfortunately, sometimes think that they're too important for their own dreams. So they won't do the dirty stuff. I used to stand at corners of traffic lights and dishing out pamphlets. I worked at coffee shops. I worked any job I could lay my hands on. I worked it because I needed to get myself through university. So the reality and the harsh truth is that I don't believe our education system is training our youth for the reality of South Africa. And I'll only talk about South Africa because that's the context within which I'm talking. It's pointless training more lawyers and more accountants and more doctors when, yeah, okay, a doctor can open their own practice. That's wonderful. They can specialize and they can actually go and work somewhere else and hopefully go get experience and come back. But it's pointless training. If you have 15,000, and I'm just throwing a number, if you have 15,000 unemployed lawyers, unemployed graduates, what is the point of continuously training people in that same field? So even the conversations we are having in our homes, our children are far more exposed to careers that I didn't even know existed at a certain point in time. I've actually been thinking about maybe I should put together a career day where I bring in these people who are doing careers that are not traditional careers. I mean, I think about Mpumi and what Mpumi does. Of course, there are a lot of people who call themselves digital creators, but the ones who are really succeeding at it and who've got substance and who are making a living and they're buying homes, they're buying, whatever they want, vacations, houses, whatever their definition of success is. So the youth is not, the jobs are not sitting in some big corporate, and they know this because they've been applying to same jobs. They've probably applied 200 times. There's no response. It's not going to stop. It's just going to progressively get worse. So we need to be we need to be supporting our youth to be independent from the system, so to self-sustain. And self-sustenance doesn't mean only fancy jobs, guys. Not all of us can be bright sparks in a corner churning out new technologies. No. Find the thing that you can turn into success and do it well. Because there's no reason why people should go to bed hungry when there's opportunities where you can just sell something, come up with something. So I think we should, in our homes, the conversations we're having in our homes are not about our kids working at some job. They're not about them going to study some degree that they're not going to have a job after. And every time I meet a young person who's like, I want to study law, I want to stay, I'm like, why can't you explore something else? Yes, I understand you think you can save the world through the criminal justice system, but the truth is that you have far more opportunity outside of those, because those are already saturated. That's saturated. So we need to be looking, particularly at getting our girls into careers where they typically went before. So I get it. If someone still wants to do engineering and still wants to do, yeah, I get that. That's okay. But please, guys, and I'm not talking down on any careers at all. I'm just saying, if you already have a saturation of something, it makes no sense that you continuously train people to get into that. Because what's going to make them special enough to get in? So let's teach our children to sell stuff. Give them money. If there's an event, there's a sporting event, there's something wherever, fund them. Go buy stuff and get them to sell. They must learn that for as long as you have your 2 feet, your brains, your hands, you don't have to go to bed hungry. But we continuously want to force these children into careers that don't exist anymore, just for our own prestige and our own status, that, oh, we have a graduate. I don't even know if graduating is going to be the measure of success going forward. I mean, we're already having those kinds of conversations in this house. Yes, of course, we are still traditional parents in the sense that we believe you need to have something to fall back on when you're busy chasing your other non-traditional stuff. And we see that as education. But education doesn't come in the same shape anymore. It doesn't come in the same form anymore. And I'm in the business of hiring graduates. I can tell you, I have very little opportunity compared to how many graduates are out there. And I can't help everybody. So yeah, I don't think that the jobs for our youth are sitting in corporates and in big businesses anymore. They're not. They really aren't. And something fundamental has to change for jobs to be created out of that. And even then, not everyone's going to get that job. You also have the challenge of having foreign workers come and work on whatever visas they come in, because maybe there's a shortage of skill. So I'm a big believer. Even when I was in corporate as a CIO, I said, we keep complaining about skills shortage in South Africa, but no one is actually building the skills. It only takes 3 years to build a skill. So whilst we're busy complaining, corporate South Africa spends so much money on foreign services because we don't have the skill. But we have so many unemployed graduates. So why aren't we training them, develop the skill? In 3 years, that person is skilled already. Yeah, okay, we have an issue of immigration, but you can't control that. But you can control what you put in. So build a pipeline of the skill that you constantly say it's lacking. And in fact, it's just an excuse for corporate South Africa to not invest in skills in South Africa. So yeah, we need to have some kind of legislation that can force these things to happen. And I know I'm now going off I'm preaching on another topic that's another week's topic, to be honest. But I've been there, We cannot keep complaining that there are no skills when we're not building them. And yeah, I'm sure there are people who are building skills, that no doubt about that. But I'm just saying, as a collective, it needs to be a way of life to say, oh, we are short of cybersecurity skills. Okay, then we are going to build them. And I mean, places like APSA, we help them set up their cybersecurity academy where they train graduates to get into cybersecurity. And I think more and more of that needs to be done. more and more, it has got to be an imperative, a social compact between all the parties to say, we are going to do this. So instead of continuously training lawyers or training more and more accountants, training more and more of this, how about we actually find these skills that we continuously say are in shortage, in short supply, and train kids in that? Because then in 3 years, those kids are skilled. So, some of these things, they require people who have vision and people who are willing to put their own political lines, political alliances on the agenda, on the line, put their own political alliances on the line, and actually start caring about the future of this country. Because if we don't fix this unemployment problem, we're in for even rougher times. But having said that, that's just the reality of it. I'm not a pessimist. I know reality, and I'll do my best to change reality. So every year I take in graduates. My team will tell you, you can ask them now, when there's an opportunity to employ people, I never want to employ someone who's already employed. I don't want to do that. I always say this, we are looking for people who are not employed. So often, even when I post something on LinkedIn, a role on LinkedIn, I'll say it's available immediately, because I want to give the opportunity to those who don't have jobs. If you already have a job, because you are miserable in your job, doesn't mean I must now decide to give you the job, but you already have a job. So find a way to make your job happy or make yourself happy. Start looking at your work differently. We should be using the opportunities that are available for people who don't have jobs but have the experience and maybe have the skill. So, but it's a bigger problem. It's not a one-person problem. It's not the government's problem. It's not the president's problem. It's every single one of us problem. Every single one of us. So on that note, thank you so much for your time. I shall see you next week again. Yes, we do this again next week. Thank you very much, guys. I hope you take good care. Let me quickly show you what the couscous looks like. For those who haven't seen the couscous, you see, the nice thing about, yeah, let me just do it. See, flakes up nicely. So this is a sign of a couscous that's well made. Not too much water. So I'd say just as a measurement, use equal amounts of water and couscous. Equal amounts. Yeah. So this is my couscous. This is what we typically serve my kind of meal with. So that's my cooking done. That's our mentorship session done for today. You've already seen what the tagine looks like. For those that want to see it one more time. One more time. It looks so good. Pinky, my name is Amanda, not Ayan. Oh, look at that. Look at that, baby. Look at this beauty. Okay. How beautiful is this? So that's what we're eating today. I'm done cooking, guys. I'm done cooking. Done cooking. Yummy. Let's say goodbye properly. Thank you very much, everybody. Take good care. You can try some of these things that I'm cooking, but feel free to make it your way. There are no rules here. Thank you. So next week I see you again. We talk about self-sabotage. If you have more questions, feel free to bring them next week, and I'll make some time to answer them. But if I don't get through the questions next week, we'll do the question and answer the following week. So thank you so much. I wish you a fantastic week ahead. Push on with your dreams. Please, let's teach our children. Let's teach our children what we believe is what's going to help them in the future. So thank you so much. Take good care.